This is Milne Bay on Papua New Guinea, and it's about as close to a tropical paradise as you can get. Warm Pacific waters, some of the purest in the world, kiss pristine beaches. Thick jungle drapes over the mountains like a green curtain. And the people here, for the most part, are very happy.
We live off the land, and that's the thing that I have come to learn to appreciate.
Oh, it's a beautiful place. Locals call it a slice of paradise. But during World War II, this was the scene of a brutal battle.
The big picture.
The Battle of Milne Bay pitted Allies against the Japanese over control of an airport.
There was no room to maneuver.
American troops slogging through the thick, unforgiving jungle. It was hot, humid, mosquito-ridden, closer to hell than to paradise. Just ask Marcus Guys, born and raised here, a student of the island's history.
It was one of the hardest places to fight. Milne Bay was very, very difficult because of the weather conditions, the mud and the rain, which still happens today, the mud and the rain. It said it was just too much for this. These were just young kids coming up to fight.
The Allies would win this battle, but they turned unspoiled wilderness into a junkyard. Junk you can still see today, rusted remains hinting at what happened. Recently, Marcus's cousin Willie was walking through his family's land when he spotted something beneath a fallen palm tree.
I was just walking past this place and then I spotted it sticking out, so I decided to come pick it up. I knew what it was, but I didn't know who was the rightful owner.
Willie found this, the dog tag of an American soldier from Fort Wayne, Private Irvin Otting. Naturally, Willie and Marcus wanted to know more.
You know, when you think back to the war, these people were very young.
The soldiers were young, just kids at the time. Most of them, though, are now long gone. But to learn more about the tag and the soldier who once wore it, Willie and Marcus called their cousin James in Australia, a World War II enthusiast with a restored American Jeep and a collection of Japanese weapons. If anybody could trace the dog tag, James could.
I said I would do my best to help out. So I straight away went onto Google and I typed in the surname.
And that's when James learned about Private Otting's time during Milne Bay. But maybe you'd better hear that story from Irvin himself.
The swamp is so thick that you had to hack your way through it. You could have an enemy soldier within 2 feet of you, and sometimes you wouldn't even know it.
At 94 years old, Irvin is still going strong, living in this house he built himself, farming these fields. Back on Papua New Guinea, the news was spreading fast.
Everybody here was, really found it interesting that the guy was still alive when I was telling them.
Irvin's war stories read like a screenplay, but for him it was serious business. He was nearly killed when an errant mortar landed too close to his machine gun nest.
I was hit with a shrapnel from an 81 millimeter mortar, our own. That's what burnt me up. It had to be our own stupidity that ruined my life.
Irvin was knocked out cold by the explosion, which also tore off his helmet and blew out a piece of his skull.
I didn't even hear the mortar go off. All I felt was the blood running down over my body.
He would be unconscious for weeks in a Philippine hospital. This is a sketch of him there. But soon after this, he awoke and noticed something very important was missing.
When I woke up, that's the first thing I said. Where's my dog tags? Don't know. I give up the idea of ever finding them.
But fate wouldn't allow that to happen. Overwhelmed by the chance discovery and Irvin's near death on their family's land 75 years earlier, the cousins from down under knew they had to return the favor.
This person put his life on the line. I thought the least I could do is to take them back to him personally and hand them to him. would be the right and proper thing to do.
And that's just what he did, arriving in Fort Wayne carrying a special cargo for express delivery. The Otting family already waiting.
I'm James, and I've travelled a long way to bring you something very special. I'd like to present you with your dog tag, which you left, that you lost all those years ago.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yes, I can imagine.
Bringing the dog tag was easy.
Thank you for
Finding the words,
putting your life for putting your life on the line for us, mate.
not so much.
You know, without you guys, we wouldn't be where we are today, mate.
For these to get lost was a real surprise. 'Cause a good soldier never takes them off the back. And I'll never lose it again.
I'm sure you won't.
Everything is okay for you people over there now?
We have our freedom. We have our freedom. People like you putting your life on the line for us. So there's the least I could do.
Well, you can imagine the feeling when they said somebody found your dog tags. In other words, they found part of you. I couldn't believe it. Well, it finally come true. We thank God for that.